mathematics more engaging and enjoyable to teach and learn at the primary school level. And James writes regularly for a range of teacher practitioner journals and is currently the co-editor of Australian Primary Mathematics Classroom. Wow, whenever he has the opportunity, James continues to spend all his time teaching in a primary classroom. And he uses this as a space to develop and test teaching ideas and to stimulate thinking about his research. Ibu Puri and James will share fostering elementary and secondary school teachers in 21st century mathematics instruction. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Ibu Puri and James Rasa to the virtual stage.
Okay, thank you, Bu Sali, for the opportunity given to us. So, as we know, as an educators in mathematics field, mathematics is always considered as a difficult subject, right? Do you agree? James?
Often it is, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, before coming to the presentation of James, let me share a little bit also about my experience here. Here with me, I'm Puri Pramudiani. I'm a lecturer in Universitas Muhammadiyah Profesor Dr. Hamka, Jakarta, Indonesia. I serve also currently as a visiting scholar at Deakin University, Australia. Bu Sally, is my voice clear enough?
Yes, Bu Puri, it's clear enough.
Okay, again, why is mathematics always considered as a difficult subject? So, James, according to my experience, I also work with a teacher. I develop teacher professional development. I developed some prototype in my previous research. Currently, I also teach in graduate school studies in UHAMKA. So most of the participants here are my students. Thank you, Ibu Bapak, for joining this webinar. And also this webinar is inspired by my students also. They are teachers because in my course called Desain Pembelajaran Matematika, Desain Pembelajaran Matematika dan IPA ya, Desain dan Evaluasi Pembelajaran Matematika. So most of the teachers at the time can can develop some ideas related to mathematics, and also some of them also can make a kind of mathematical games, which is, I think, this is very interesting. We will come up to that idea after this, but that I share what I have also developed to break down the mindset that mathematics is difficult. So we are happy now we have a kind of new insight in our education in Indonesia as the theme of this webinar, mindful, meaningful, and joyful learning. So to be honest, when I was in primary school, I do not really like mathematics, but currently my destiny is becoming the lecturer in mathematics. So what I am doing to be survived in mathematics field, I like music. I like singing a song, so that's why I developed some stories using singing a song related to mathematics. This is the example of my previous design. I work with my supervisor at the time, design research in mathematics education. Share the screen.
Halo teman-teman, jumpa lagi dengan Bu Puri di sini. Nah teman-teman, Bu Puri masih punya satu cerita nih. Tadi pagi, Zian, anaknya Bu Puri, membeli martabak. Zian membeli martabak lewat aplikasi online. Nah, martabak yang dibeli Zian ini, isinya, toppingnya berbeda-beda. Begitu Zian meletakkan martabak di atas meja, Zian melihat ada martabak dengan rasa keju, rasa coklat, dan rasa pisang. Nah, menurut teman-teman, berapa bagian rasa keju, rasa coklat, dan rasa pisang dari keseluruhan martabak tersebut? Setelah Zian meletakkan martabak tersebut di meja makan, Zian pergi ke kamar sebentar untuk mengambil barang. Nah, pada saat ditinggal tersebut, kakak Habi datang, lalu melihat martabak ada di atas meja dan memakan satu potong martabak yang rasa pisang. Menurut teman-teman, berapa bagian martabak rasa pisang yang dimakan oleh Kakak Habi dari keseluruhan martabak tersebut? Ayo.
This is one example that I developed with my teacher partner at Design Research. So we develop a kind of story using fraction. And here is a kind of disequilibrium question. I call it as cantik, challenging and realistic. Cantik means beautiful in bahasa. So I developed theory about Nara cantik. Nara is the name of my daughter. Nara is noticing ability and reflective ability provoked by challenging and realistic. So here also Zian is my second son. Habi is my first son, but my research is not about promoting my family, but indeed I really inspired by them. So this is a true story. When I bought a kind of martabak, this is the things that happen. Maybe some of you as a participant can share. Jika satu potong martabak pisang sudah dimakan, maka berapa bagian yang dimakan dari seluruh martabak tersebut? Boleh Bapak Ibu kalau yang ini bisa ikut menjawab mungkin di chat room. So here the interesting part is some students and also some primary schools only know that fraction is a kind of rational number which is divided equally in each partition. But how if, for example, the partition is not divided, it looks like different, right? But yeah, this is the interesting part that I called challenging and realistic fraction. Okay, so but according to my experience, some of students will answer it is a 1/3, 1/8, 1/9, something like that. So that's why I call this task design can provoke students' mathematical reasoning because they are engaging discussion.
And maybe some students might answer 1/5 as well.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
that's another
1/5
one,
also.
yeah. Very good question.
Yeah.
I like the context.
Yeah, and then I have also a true story according to my children. At that time, I bought 2 martabak. Martabak is a kind of local cuisine from Indonesia, but contains different flavor. But at that time, I bought 2 martabak which has the same flavor. One martabak is divided become 4. Another martabak is divided become 8. The same flavor, the same size. I gave the 1/4 martabak to my second son, 1 slice, and I gave 2 slices of 1/8 of martabak to my first son. What do you think? Am I fair?
I don't think your children probably thought it was
Yeah,
fair.
but you know, I'm fair. But,
You are fair,
yeah.
yes. Yeah.
But what happened at that time? My second son Zian complained to me, "Mom, you're not fair. Why you give my brother 2 and you give me 1? No, this is the same." And I proved that the measurement is the same. But he still declined it. And when I proposed this in summer school at the time in Freudenthal Institute in the Netherlands, and then the educator said that usually the children at a concrete level, because at the time Zian is in grade 1, we all think about counting first rather than visualizing. So he just know that 2 is more than 1, but he just ignore about the measurement. Okay, that's the kind of story. And then apart from the technology that help us, I know several teachers here also are very creative. Some of them make a kind of video animator, new Photon like I did, and also using quizzes and many others. So as I mentioned in the beginning also, so this is the part of my research about Nara cantik, noticing ability, reflective ability of teachers provoked by challenging and realistic. So this task design was developed, and also we make a kind of focus group discussion with several teachers in Indonesia. And here sometimes when I feel mathematics sometimes difficult, and also students feel bored in the course, so I make a kind of ice breaking using the mathematical concept. As a conversation, I will share also about decimal sum, just to beginning the this morning in order to be high skill. Yeah. the kind of mathematical games that I developed at the time with my supervisor, Frans van Halen. So we make an online game at the time, finding the decimal numbers. So the students will act as a pilot. When they have to drive as a pilot, they have to find a specific point using decimal numbers. We can imagine if as a pilot we didn't put the point carefully, what will happen. So at the time the children were playing the game and as a pilot, and at the end of the game they have to find a secret code, and the one who can find the secret code become the winner. This is Frans van Halen who developed the game at the time.
It's common number. Decimal. There are many benefits. If you start to be confused, misery, but it's not fit. If you start to be confused, victory, but it's not really.
Okay, that is the thing that I can share about my experience. So regarding also the one solution to break down the mindset of mathematics is difficult, like I share also one of them, we can make a kind of mathematical game. So I know that from several papers that you have already published, you also interested in developing about mathematical games. So can you share about your experience also?
I can. Do you want me to share my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Terrific. Okay, I will share my screen. I'll try to talk slowly and clearly, but if you need to translate as I go, that is fine. See if this works. Okay.
Iya, kalau lagi streamingan.
So, my topic today we'll be talking about is deepening our understanding of how primary school teachers, in an Australian context, use games to support mathematics instruction. And I'll just, sorry, I'll say now that this is very exciting for us because we are doing a large international study with many countries participating in the research that we have done previously in an Australian context. We are now doing across many countries, including Indonesia, Ghana, Greece, and Turkey, and Australia, and maybe some other countries too. So it's an exciting opportunity to collaborate on a research project. So thank you for completing the questionnaire and sharing your experiences. Okay, we are going to begin with a game. Sorry. This game is called The King's Tax, and there are the instructions of the game. This is a game where you can play anywhere between 2 people up to 200 people or even more. So everybody can play along if you wish. So we have a deck of cards to play this game, and we begin by shuffling the deck of cards, and we turn over cards, and each card has a value in the game. The goal of the game is to be the player who accumulates the most money. Okay? But I will start playing the game because it's the easiest way to show it is just to play it rather than try to explain the rules. So we'll play it in this classroom space if that's okay. So, all right. I'm going to go to my deck of cards website. So to begin the game, well, I'll get Puri and Daisy, who's here with us as well, to stand up if that's okay. Daisy's just out of shot, but that's okay. She can play along with us. I'll play. Normally, I wouldn't play because I'm the quiz master, but just because it makes it more interesting, I could play as well. So I'll stand up. So maybe Daisy, you could come into the shot as well. All right.
You're very high.
I'm very high. Yes. So we'll play. But the way the game works is this: we want to sit down before a king comes up, because a king is the poison number. Right, so it means that our score drops to 0 for the round. Okay, so we want to hope to sit down before a king comes up. So, a king is the first card. So everybody scores 0 for the first round. So $0. Okay, so the next round will begin now. And now a joker. Joker, we have to decide at the start of the game what the joker is going to do. I didn't explain that. So maybe today the joker is going to be worth $100. So now we all have $100. Okay? So if you want, I'm going to sit down with $100, and Puri and Daisy are staying in the round, and you're going to try to earn some more money. So $101. There's $1. Is the ace is worth 1? Oh, another joker. Now you have $201. $201. So one of you like to sit down? Are you happy to keep standing? Because if a king comes up, your score will drop to 0. If you sit down, you bank the money. So you will keep the $201.
I keep to.
You're going to stay? Okay, you're going to stay. So $202. $204.
Typically, a mother wants to collect money as soon as possible.
But if a king comes up, you know you'll go to 0.
Yeah.
So you can bank the money by sitting down. If you wanted to play along with us, you could. If you're playing this game in an online space, instead of standing up and sitting down, people could turn on their cameras when they're standing up and off their cameras when they're sitting down, if you want. $204.
Sorry, James, if that's going to happen, we might need to unpin whoever's done that to James so we can just see everyone who's put cameras on and off.
That's okay, Pen. I'll just talk to it. I think it's fine, just to demonstrate the game. So hopefully you can follow. We've got $204, $10 more.
I will go to market so I can sit.
Okay, so Puri's sitting down. We're on $213. So Puri's sitting down, but Daisy's still in the round. So she wants more. She wants more money. $218 for the round. Still standing. $224.
Yes,
Okay, Queen is very good.
Yes.
Queen doubles our score for the round. So we have to double 224. So double 200, then double 24. So together we now have $448. So
Yes.
will you sit down on $448?
Just I already got like twice.
Do you want one more card?
No,
Sit down.
no.
Sit
I think
down. Yeah. So Daisy sits down. $448. Puri had 100.
Can I stand up again after sit
Yeah,
down?
but how much did you make?
I think I never been counted.
I would just check. Puri made.
No, I mean that after the
You made
players.
$213.
Yeah.
Yes.
But after the players
Yeah.
sit down,
So once everybody sat down, or once the kings come up, the round is over and we begin a new round. So everybody stands up again. So I stand up again too. So what did I have? I had $100. You had $213 so far. $448. So we record our money because we all bank some money for that round. And we stand up again. So new round begins. So can we bank some more money?
Gendong.
We're on $5 to start the new round. 5 and 9. 5 and 10 is 15, so 5 and 9 must be $14. So we're on $14.
Ada ya, Bu?
And,
Assalamualaikum.
oh no! The king has come up, so we all score $0 for this round, and a new round will begin. So we played one round, the king came up at the start, then we all sat down, that was another round, and now another king. So we are beginning our fourth round. $6. 6 and 2, $8. 8, and the jacks are worth $15. So 8 plus 15, you might use a strategy.
23.
23, maybe you say 15 plus 5 is 20, and 3 more is 23. $23. Oh, queen is good, double 23, so $46. I might sit down on $46 for my round. So I get to add that to my $100 from before. So I have 46 from this round and 100 from my previous round. So $46 you're on. 46 and 9 more is 46 and 10 is 56, so it must be $55. And 15 more, 55 and 15 more is 65, $70. $70. Are you still staying in?
I will go back to Indonesia, so I need
More money.
to buy the ticket.
70 and 8 more is $78.
Hei,
$78.
sini bang.
And there's our king.
So it means
So we only have one king left in the deck. We will begin our final round. I had $100 before, and I sat down on, this time I sat down on $46, I think. So I had $146, and you have $448, and you have $213. Okay, so now we will begin probably our final round because there's 3 kings that have been played. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 33 cards left in the deck and only 1 king. So only a 1 in 33 chance that the king will come up. So not very likely, so we should be safe. $4.
Jangan megang itu aja.
4 and 3 is $7.
Ah, namanya ada kamu tuh.
7 and 4, $11. 11 and 7, $18. And there's another queen, double 18. Double 10 is double 16, so 20 and 16, $36. $36. $36. Oh, another queen. It's our last queen, I think, but $72, because double 35 is 70. $72. And even though we still had almost half the deck left, we've got our last king. So once the 4th king has been played, the game is over, and whoever has banked the most money in total is the winner. So Daisy is our winner. So well done, Daisy.
After this, you can treat us.
So this game is the game you can play with a very small group like we did, but you can play with 200 people easily as well. Just have to keep track of who's sitting down and banking their money. So the focus of this game is on mental computation strategies for addition, on doubling as well, which is part of that, as well as probability. So the idea is, thinking about how many cards are left in the deck and what are the chances that a king might come up, or maybe are there any queens or jokers left in the deck? Should I stay in the game or not? Based on the probabilities and based on what everybody else is doing too. So this is the King's Tax. So I just wanted to show you an example of a mathematical game so I can refer back to something. Okay, so the King's Tax is a mathematical game. However, what makes a game a mathematical game? And I want you to ask yourself, are the following mathematical games? So are the following mathematical games? So, basketball. Do you think this is a mathematical game? Probably not. Okay. We might use mathematics to understand the game. We might use mathematics to analyze the game. But if I'm playing basketball, I probably am not playing a mathematical game. That's how people would probably think about it. What about hopscotch? I don't know if you have hopscotch in Indonesia or something.
It's right.
Similar, yeah. Is this a mathematical game? Maybe. There's some sequencing involved. Yeah, so that might, depending on how old the children are playing the game, there might be some mathematical concepts there for them to understand. Yeah. Maybe. Depending on how we play. Is chess a mathematical game? It's got a mathematical structure to it. Possibly it is. It really depends on why we're using it, and I'll talk about that in a moment. What about a game like Snakes and Ladders? Is it a mathematical game? Yeah. So again, when we think about a mathematical game, and I'll talk to you about this in a moment, I have a specific understanding based on how the research defines mathematical games. So this could be a mathematical activity, but to become a mathematical game, we want to introduce some choice to the players. So even though it's an exciting mathematical activity, maybe for young students, we want to introduce some choice to call it a mathematical game in terms of how it's defined in the literature. So this is how we define a mathematical game based on bringing together these other definitions of mathematical games. So I'll let you read through it. It might be a little bit technical in English, so if you need to translate it or go for it. But has specific mathematical cognitive objectives. And so specific mathematical objectives is an important aspect.
Wow.
You need mathematical knowledge to win the game.
Wow.
This is why basketball is not a mathematical game, right? Because I don't need the knowledge to win the game.
Abang ngapain di situ?
Is enjoyable and with potential to engage students. It is fun, right? It is supposed to be an exciting, joyful experience. It is governed by a definite set of rules, so it has a defined set of rules and has a clear underlying structure. It involves a challenge against either a task or against opponents. So in our case, we were competing against each other. But there are some games where you compete against yourself, or you might compete against trying to achieve a certain objective. A game like solitaire, like a card game like solitaire. It involves elements of knowledge, skills, strategy, and or luck. But it's not just about luck. It's not just about luck. We want students to have some choice, some agency when they're playing mathematical games. Okay, so that's what we want to be thinking about. And it has a distinct finishing point. And the game ends at some point. It has an objective and it ends at some point. So if we go back to Snakes and Ladders, I might ask the question, how can we change? So Snakes and Ladders, if you've played it before, you're moving your counter around the board, you go up the ladders and down the snakes. But you're not choosing to do anything. Right? You are just rolling the dice and moving your counter. So how can we change Snakes and Ladders so there's some choice for the players as well in order to turn it into a real game? So that might be a question we could ask. So Puri, do you have any thoughts or ideas that come to mind?
I think some of my students also develop idea about Snakes and Ladders.
Yeah.
Kelompoknya Bu Fitrah ya. Mungkin silakan ada yang mau share. Can you repeat the question?
Yep. So how could we change or modify Snakes and Ladders to make it a real game by giving players some choice?
Oke, gimana kelompoknya Ada yang tentang, atau mungkin dari Bapak Ibu yang lain silakan ada yang mau share ini terkait dengan pertanyaan James, bagaimana ini aturan permainannya dalam ular tangga ini untuk mengubah, kalau kita sebutnya apa itu, apa yang ini bukan dadu ya, kalau kita nyebutnya ladders itu. Itu ya Bapak Ibu tahu ya, kalau di dalam permainan ular tangga itu yang warna-warninya itu bagaimana aturan permainannya supaya itu tadi yang make sense terhadap permainan ular tangganya. Atau mungkin Bapak dan Ibu bisa sharing terkait dengan pengalaman dalam bermain ular tangga dan dikaitkan dengan konsep matematik. Saya rasa di kelas saya ini ada salah satu kelompok yang mengembangkan desain pembelajaran matematika tentang ular tangga. Boleh dalam bahasa Indonesia, nanti saya coba translate. Ada Bapak dan Ibu yang mau share? Ini kita supaya webinarnya interaktif ya, jadi melibatkan Bapak dan Ibu semuanya. Atau raise hand, silakan. Yang mau sharing dalam bahasa Indonesia juga boleh. Is there anyone who want to share? Teman-teman sepertinya.
Sudah ada satu
ada.
orang Ibu Put.
Siapa?
There's one, Ibu Erni.
Ibu Erni, silakan Bu Erni, mungkin bisa langsung di open mute ya.
Okay, thank you for Miss Puri. Hello James, I'm Ernie. I'm from secondary school actually, but my school is using Cambridge curriculum. Actually, that I play the snakes and ladders. It's the first time for the final assessment after I teach my students with something with different materials. So I just make a card with divided by, if I have the snakes and ladders for four. It means that for different colors, red, yellow, green, and then blue. And then the students will throw the dice, and then they will count how many dice that he gets, and then if he gets the red color, they will get the red cards, and then they will answer the questions. But if in this moment that I learned something from you and Miss Puri, that actually the snake and ladders can be applied in operation of mathematics. If we can look the ladders of in this what is it in this game, if the ladders that four, we can look the fourth, and then the tangga. I know that tangga is letters, right? Yeah, Miss Korea. And then fourth will come to the 38, and then I will maybe that next I will ask my student in the 7th grade how the fourth can be the 38. They can open-minded. They can open-minded themselves. Oh yeah, 4 to be the 38. How you can get it for the operation of mathematics? Maybe I will give them example like 4 times 9 equals 36, and then you add plus 2, so you can get 38, and then you can make another operation. It's like that maybe. That I can imagine about snake and ladders for the operation of mathematics. Just that. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's a nice example, going from say 14 to 38. What operation might you use to go from 14 to 38, modelling something that's happening on the snakes and ladders board? I think that's a nice example of deepening the mathematics. One example of one way of playing this game with young students, once they're familiar with it, to get them to think more about the mathematics, is to make them say the numbers as they move across the board. So if they are on 12 and they roll 3, they have to say 13, 14, 15. If they do not say the numbers, you can make them miss their turn. Okay, so that's like becomes part of the rules of the game. Why do we want the students to say the numbers? Because we want them to move from just sequencing numbers to starting to count on, because counting on is an important strategy, addition strategy to learn for young students before they start to learn more sophisticated strategies like we were showing with King's Tax before. But still, it's not, I would still say Snakes and Ladders, even all the things we are talking about, it's a good activity, but it's not a real game because there's no choice for the players. You know, as adults, when we play a game, we want to make choices because that choices means the game is more engaging. We have to develop strategies to be successful in the game. So how could we introduce some choice to Snakes and Ladders? What could we do? What could we do?
Ada yang mau sharing lagi, Bapak dan Ibu? Baik, dengan luar tangga mungkin berdasarkan saya rasa permainan luar tangga ini cukup familiar ya di Indonesia. It's quite familiar also by the teachers in the class. Mungkin Bapak dan Ibu ada yang punya pengalaman berbeda gitu dengan apa yang diterapkan. In my class, the students and teachers develop the context about snakes and ladders, but the mathematical concept is about shape. Not about the numbers, but about shape.
So, is that built into the game, or are they some cards that do you land on special cards and have to ask questions, or is
Yeah.
yeah?
Exactly.
So so because we can use the game board as a sort of in some ways what you're talking about is gamifying mathematics, gamifying. So we've got to distinguish, I think, between gamifying mathematics, okay, and a mathematical game where the mathematical activity is in the game itself. We don't add it on. So gamifying mathematics and a mathematical game, they're both ways of making mathematics more engaging and enjoyable, but I think they're slightly different things, right? If Snakes and Ladders is going to be a mathematical game, say I want to play this game with year one students or something like that, I might change a rule so everybody has 2 counters instead of 1, and you choose which counter to move on your turn. That way you can avoid the snakes and try to collect the ladders. So a simple little modification like that, but it introduces some choice for players. You might do that modification. You also might make the players say the numbers as they move along the board. So they are practicing counting on. So that they are 2 modifications if I was playing the game with, say, year 1 students. Another way you might have choice is maybe you roll 3 dice and you choose 2 of them to add together. Right? So you have some choice. Which 2 will you add together? Usually you want to get the highest score, but of course, you also want to get the ladders and avoid the snakes. So there's some strategy now, or at least some choice involved, some tactics involved in the game. So this is why I'm thinking, we have these games that we use, how can we tweak them, modify them, to give players some choice and connect them to the mathematical focus more closely. This is something I'm very interested in as well. But maybe I'll show you a little bit of my research and then we can open up this conversation again.
Like we did in the card game also.
Yeah.
It's related to decision making.
Yeah, exactly. You choose a very simple decision. Do you stay in the round or do you sit down? But your decision depends on what everybody else is doing. If everybody else sits down, you should stay standing, probably. If everybody else stays standing, maybe you should sit down. Do you know what I mean? So it's a social decision as well as a mathematical decision based on game theory, say. So it's quite complex if you analyze it.
And also this can be related also to probability, right?
Probability, certainly is probability as well, definitely. Okay, so this was our definition of mathematical games that I talked about. What I'm going to do now is, and maybe Penelope could drop the link to our systematic review into the chat, just in case you're interested in learning more.
I will do that.
Fantastic, thanks Pen. So Penelope is our colleague who is working on this, our international games collaboration project. She's from Monash as well. And she was also involved, her and I were involved in writing this systematic review. So I won't go into too much depth. You can read the paper if you are interested or look at it. We looked at, for a 20-year period, all the research that was into non-digital mathematical games. Okay, so not games that are digital, everything else that was a mathematical game. We identified 34 papers and 32 studies across 17 countries. And this is interesting, I think, for our context today. Five of the studies were from Australia, 5 of the studies were from Indonesia, and 5 of the studies were from the United States. Okay, that's almost half of all the studies from 3 countries: Australia, Indonesia, and the United States. So this tells us that Australian teachers and Indonesian teachers and American teachers are using games more than some other countries. But we have to remember that most of the mathematics education research, or lots of it, comes out of the United States anyway, because they do lots of research. Much less comes out of Indonesia and Australia. Even though Indonesia has a very large population, they produce much less research, more recently, but overall less research than, say, the United States. So my point is that it is very significant that Australia and Indonesia were so well represented in this literature review. Is this clear what I'm saying, Pierre? I think it's important. This is another thing to note, only 1/3 of the studies, so only 11 out of the 32 studies, incorporated mathematical games that were consistent with the definition that I just gave you. Okay, so there is a definition in the literature, and we synthesized it, and we presented it on the slide, so this was our definition. Only 1/3 of the studies actually described a game that fitted that definition. Most of the other studies, the games did not meet one or more criterion, or they weren't described in enough detail to understand how the game worked. And so this is an interesting thing as well. To be in our literature review, the authors had to describe the activity as a mathematical game. We didn't decide whether it meant whether it was a real game or not. Like, that wasn't an inclusion criteria for us. As long as the authors thought it was a mathematical game, we included it in our study. And so that was how we went about it, identifying and including studies. This is just another way of showing where the studies were represented. So you can see that the red countries there have 5 studies. The blue countries have 2 studies. So Canada is one of the ones, for example, with 2 studies. And the green ones had 1 study. Green countries had 1 study. So again, it shows you that Australia and Indonesia and the United States were significant contributors to this systematic review. Okay. What did we learn from the systematic review about how playing non-digital games impacted student outcomes? So these are the key findings, if you like. So I say playing games generally resulted in improved mathematical learning and dispositional outcomes for students, either over time or when contrasted with other mathematical activities. So improved learning, but also improved disposition, which means how you feel about mathematics. Do you think you're a mathematician? Do you enjoy mathematics? Do you persist with challenging mathematical work? Those sorts of things as well. And you can read through those, or maybe you can. I don't know how easy it is for you to translate this, but you can see that there's a list there of the specific things that we saw improve. You can see, for example, reduced mathematics anxiety. We know that mathematics anxiety, which is something that Puri Puri talked earlier about sort of boredom with mathematics, but also mathematics anxiety, feeling kind of afraid of doing mathematics or anxious about doing mathematics is a real thing. It's a problem. And playing games has been shown to reduce anxiety. It's one of the things. Improve motivation to learn mathematics. So you're more motivated to learn. Enhance critical thinking skills and communication skills in mathematics classrooms. More positive attitudes, more engagement in mathematics. And then improved mathematical proficiencies, which is things like understanding and fluency and reasoning and problem solving as well. So there were a couple of studies at the bottom you can see where it was ambiguous or maybe somewhat negative, the impact of games. But this was only 2 or 3 studies out of 35 studies or something like that. So generally, out of 34 studies. So generally, the research was positive in terms of its impact. There's a few other things I'll just briefly share. Some other notable findings. The structure of the gameplay in these studies. Most games were set up so it was competitive, so competing against each other like the King's Tax, where we are all competing against each other. A small number of games were collaborative, where teams of students are working together to solve a problem, say, or maybe competing against other teams of students. And there were some that were a mixture. Game types, in terms of the format of the games, most of the study games were board games, and some were card games. So board and card games were quite notable. In terms of mathematical content, and this is something that Puri, you were talking about before with SHAPE, most studies had links to number. 18 out of the 30, there's 32 studies, I've got to remember that number. There's 34 papers, it's a bit confusing, but 32 studies, because one study had 3 papers associated with it. That's why there's a difference there. And so 18 out of the 32 studies were about number. The next most was geometry or shape, spatial reasoning, that kind of thing. That was 6 studies. There was only 1 paper on a measurement game. So that was interesting. So not very much research into measurement games at all. It was interesting. And then lastly, the focus of the data collection. Most of the studies were about students. A few were about students and teachers. Only 1 study was about just teachers. So not much research about how teachers use games or how the impact of, say, professional learning around mathematical games on teachers' knowledge or teachers' practice. And that's one of the reasons we wanted to do this international study, because there's not very much research on the teacher's role in facilitating games, and using games in the classroom. Most of the research is around the students. Right, so I think I could talk more about the studies and things, other studies I've got. These are 4 studies we've done in addition to the systematic review, but I don't know. I maybe it's worthwhile maybe talking about the first study, but I could talk forever about this, and we've only got so much time, so I'm conscious of that too. But I might just show you a couple of findings from our first study. Our first study, we looked at, so study 1, you can see those 2 research questions, and this is what study 1 looks like. We had about 248 Australian primary teachers in this first study, and it was a questionnaire-based study, and it was in the field late 2019, so before COVID, and there are a couple of publications that came from the study. So one of the questions we wanted to know was, how frequently do teachers use games? How often do Australian primary teachers play games? All the time, like every day? Say often, 2 or 3 times a week, sometimes once a week, rarely once a month, never. This is what we got when we asked these 248 teachers. So about a third, 32%, are playing games every day, pretty much. And then 47% are playing games often. 19% sometimes. This tells us that Australian primary teachers use games a lot. It's an important part of how they teach mathematics in Australia. This is not necessarily the same across every other country. We do not know, we haven't really got data for other countries that looks like this, because there hasn't been other research like this. That is again why we want to do our international comparison study. Okay, this is quite a lot of information to take on, but two things stand out here. How do teachers use games? Most of them use games at the start of a lesson to hook students in or to warm students up. So Puri, when you bring students in, you might think, oh, they might look a bit, say you have some primary students, they're either a bit bored or they're a bit coming in from recess, they're a bit all over the shop. Maybe you play a game at the start to bring them into the mathematics classroom and getting them focused on the mathematics and feeling good about the mathematics. So lots of teachers use games for that purpose. And another thing that was interesting is quite a lot of teachers use games to support investigations. So to support investigations, I'll give you an example of an investigation. I'll give you an example of an investigation in a minute, which relates to the King's tax. And this is probably one of the last things I'll show you, but we asked teachers, what are their pedagogical aims when using games? What are they trying to achieve? Why do they choose to use games? And that column there is how many teachers agreed or strongly agreed that they use games for these reasons. So you can see that every teacher just about agreed engaging students in maths lessons was a reason to use games. And 82% of teachers strongly agreed with that. So 100% of teachers agree or strongly agree, 82% strongly agree with that. So engaging students in maths is a big reason why we choose to use games. Teachers choose to use games. And you can see the other things there. What we thought was important to note is that games are not just about building fluency. So they're not just about, getting better at mental computation or learning something off by heart. They are also about understanding, reasoning, and problem solving. Right? So that's how teachers are seeing games. It's about all these aspects. Right, I think this is one more slide I'll show you. What do these games look like in Australian classrooms? So we asked the teachers to describe their favourite game, just like we asked you to in your questionnaire, actually. So teachers had to describe their favourite game. And then we looked at the materials that they were using to play their favourite game. You can see that most of the games that the Australian primary school teachers said that they were their favourite games were using very simple materials. So dice and playing cards, right? Or just pen and paper, or just oral games. Right? Very few games were using special materials, which is interesting. So these dice and playing cards are available in pretty much every Australian primary school classroom has dice, lots of playing cards. They're using these very simple materials to play games like King's Tax that we saw before. Very, very few teachers chose a digital game as their favourite game. And they could have chosen a digital game and put that in there, but in 2019, out of all these Australian primary school teachers who we asked, only 1% chose a digital game. Only 1% chose a digital game. Right, so I can keep going with this sort of findings, but I'm conscious that there's a lot of information that I'm transmitting. So Puri, what do you think is best? Now, we've got provocation here. What are the factors that teachers consider? I've got data on that, but I can stop and we can take questions, whatever you like.
Yeah, maybe we can give opportunity first to the participants.
Yes, sounds great. Terrific. Do you want me to stop sharing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just want to thank everyone who engaged on the chat with me. You've been fantastic.
Yeah,
Good on you, and thanks for managing the chat.
Yeah, okay, I also would invite you, maybe you want to add something and also say hi to Indonesian participants here, because Penelope is a part of our team also,
Yes,
in
yes.
the research about mathematical games. Yes, please, Penelope.
Thanks, Puri. I just want to give it over to the participants because they've been amazing. I have been trying to just summarise a couple of the key points. It just makes it I think, a bit more helpful for second language people when they're listening to presentations. I've also put a couple of websites and some links to readings and some files. So if you remember to save the chat before the session ends, this could be something that people go back to just to remember some key points that James has shared today.
Okay, great. Thank you, Penelope, for engaging for this discussion. I'm happy to have you here. Okay, James, actually, according to my presentation also in the beginning, I have several examples regarding to mathematical games inspired by the teachers. This is the design of my student. Not there. This is several examples proposed by the teachers related to mathematical context. And some of them also develop the context for mathematical games, in shape, in unitizing, in second letters like you. But here, the intention about the shape.
The shape, yep.
Okay. And then this is Labubu, maybe if there is opportunity also, if the participant who develop the context, maybe can share about this context. Here, tentang rumah adat, interaksi numerasi berbasis permainan dampu bulan ya, ini Bapak dan Ibu ya, ini juga sudah diterapkan di sekolah kemarin di mata kuliah desain pembelajaran evaluasi matematika ya di kelas 19 UMK. Oke, ada juga ini tentang kembang goyang ini ya, related to the circle, and this is the participants. Ada my teachers who also join this webinar, and this is the lab. Okay, but before come up to the explanation of the example of the design that have already been developed by the teachers, I invite several participants who have already filled the questionnaire. Thank you very much for all the participants who have already filled the questionnaire as a registration link. And in the part of the questions in the questionnaire, are you willing to share about your experience? Some participants answer yes, they are willing, but some others they still choose to listen to the speakers. So I invite Pak Indra Gunawan from Palembang because our committee decided to choose a representative from West, from Middle, from East. Indonesia is a large archipelago in 38 provinces. We are happy here having the participant for almost 20 provinces involved in this webinar. So I invite Pak Indra Gunawan. Pak Indra Gunawan from Palembang. Are you with me? Pak Indra? Maybe Bu Kristi Matita Putih from Maluku? Bu Kristi? Are you with me? I can see your account here.
Yes, I'm here. Okay. Are you hear me, Ms. Puri? Okay, thank you very much. I don't hear you, Ms. Puri. You are mute, Ms. Puri. Your mic is mute. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
When I stopped sharing, maybe.
Okay, sorry.
Maybe it happened automatically.
Oh, okay. Jadi dari tadi nggak ada suaranya ini.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. So I have invited several participants who are willing to share. One of them is Miss Kristi. Miss Kristi is Indonesian educator from Maluku, ya, Miss
Yes.
Kristi.
Yes. Patimura University.
Okay, she's willing also to share her experience. So the time is yours, Miss Kristi.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm Christy Matita from Patimura University. As a lecturer, I teaching and learning mathematics, belajar dan pembelajaran matematika in this semester, and I ask my student to make a create applets using GeoGebra Classroom. Yes, today I will present how they make how they create the GeoGebra applet GeoGebra Classroom to make interactive teaching in student with student. Maybe I can share screen.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. But before you can join with the applet using this code that I sent in the meeting chat room. Yes.
Have you already shared screen, Miss Christy?
Yes. Okay. I
We
just
can
tried.
see the, yeah. Belum ada share screen-nya.
Yes. Oke. Bapak Ibu mungkin bisa, ya. Yes. This is the lesson about exercise multiplication. Yeah. Some student can join using join the lesson at the link that I have shared in the chat room, or using code BK9STDXR. And then as a teacher, we use the GeoGebra classroom as a teacher, and we can see what students do in this. And then I think some of participants in this webinar try. Maybe from Muhammad Soleh, I will present now like this. Yes, the answer is about how hasil perkalian dari 3 points minus 2, the multiplication of 3 times minus 2, and then a student can make an answer here, and when they answer 5 maybe, and when they check the answer is wrong, and they cannot see the visualization. But when they answer is right, like a -9, -6, and it's right, and the visualization can give by using the apa lagi namanya, they can move the circle like from A is to 3, and for the first number, bilangan pertama, and F -2, so we back a -2, and the result, the visualization is a red circle, a 6 red circle is a negative number. Yes, like this. This is something that make mathematics teaching learning can fun for teacher, because they can use the handphone for student handphone or the gadget for try some number to answer this question, and they can generate a new problem like this when say no and just write. But they not can do the visualization about this. If they answer 0, they cannot see the visualization. Yes. Okay. Then teacher can ask them how they find, how they understand about this multiplication. Yeah, they can generate another question, and yes, I think it is one of the hasil karya dari salah satu mahasiswa saya dalam membuat pembelajaran berbasis Applet menggunakan GeoGebra Classroom khususnya untuk perkalian di tingkat sekolah dasar for elementary school. Dan maybe juga ini ada yang lain juga, mungkin bisa dilihat di sini tentang penjumlahan. I think this is maybe more developed for math mental. Yes, because it's simple. Yeah. Mereka dalam tahap belajar. Yeah, we are learning every day. Maybe like this for
Gambarnya nggak berubah, Bu Miss
Iya.
Christy, masih
Oke.
share screen yang tadi.
Yeah. Okay.
Ah.
Okay. This is for bilangan penjumlahan bilangan bulat, ya. Istilah dua kotak kosong dengan dua bilangan bulat sehingga hasil penjumlahannya benar. Ya, maybe adjective learningnya seperti itu yang mereka coba desain. So when 2 plus 1 equal 6 is wrong. So we can generate also another number, so it can make a wrong or right answer. So after they using this applet, teacher can ask them how they find them, how they understanding this problem, and can generate all. Yeah. Yes, I think like this, Miss Puri. I'm sorry, maybe.
Yeah, thank you very much. Great. Yeah.
I just, Puri, I'd like to show one more thing if that's okay. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Christy.
Thank you, Miss Christie. It got me thinking, watching these digital resources that you've developed and the power of digital representations to connect, to be used to connect, the power of the digital technology to connect different mathematical representations. So you have, before you had like an array and you have it like a different type of representation and you could build connections between them. It made me think I might share one more thing.
Miss Christy, boleh di stop share dulu?
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Share to meeting. All right. Hopefully you can see my screen in the meeting. Is that right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was involved we have the ABC, which is an Australian Broadcasting Commission, sort of public broadcasting commission. We developed some maths resources for them called Goat Maths. So it fits our theme of making mathematics playful and joyful and interesting. There's many different activities here we could look at. Some are games, some are more like activities or thinking tools. I'll show you two of them and you can have a look in your own time. It's freely available, obviously, online. So it's Goat Maths. So I'll show you, for example, this one here is called Thunder Goats. Famous music. So this one doesn't have an upper line, but I'm going to do the other level because it does have an upper line. All right. So say we were in a year, with young kids again, we have 4 and 7. We can move it around. I can pull up a number line. I can put the 7 and 4. Whoops, onto my number line. You see how it bridges through 10? So 7 plus 3 is 10 and 1 more is 11. So that's one representation. But I can also pull up the tens frame, and I can say, oh, I need 3 more to build to 10. Oops. So it's 7 plus 4 is the same as 10 plus 1. I could look at my tens facts. 7 plus 3 could be helpful here. I wouldn't need doubles or near doubles for this example. And then I pop in my answer. But the purpose here is to show you how the digital resources can connect these different representations, the number line, the tens frame with the number sentence. I'll show you one more, which I think is quite powerful, maybe for slightly older students. Sorry. So another one, there are quite a few of them. There's about more than 10. Another one that is good is, particularly good is Goatbusters. This is for the area model of multiplication. So we'll do harder level. Okay. So 38 times 54 is a scary number sentence. Maybe not so scary after all. That's not scary. So the Goatbuster is going to come and help us using the area model of multiplication to make this scary number sentence less scary. So 38 times 54. I might choose to use place value partitioning here. So I have 50 and 4 for the for that dimension, and I might have here, I might do 30 and 8. Yeah? So I might go, okay, that's it. Now I have to work out the values of the individual rectangles. So 30 times 50, that's 1500. That tells me if I get it wrong, they ask me, is there another way I can do it? So I can see the partial products here. And then it invites me to add them all up at the end. Okay, we can link it to the multiplication algorithm. And so again, the power of having a digital tool to be able to connect representations. And so I think that is quite a helpful aspect of digital technology, be able to connect representations very easily like that, and they can all adjust in real time. And I think maybe this one's one more, I'll just show you. This is about for younger students again. It's about supervising addition and multiplication. So you have to estimate how many are there. You have 3 seconds to estimate, and do you think it's 10? Okay, and then these goats arrange it as an array, or as groups of, or as a line of 10 and some more. So I'll show you one more example. Easy. The nice thing is at the end, you can see also we have a number sentence that's equivalent to that representation. So we're going to have one more example. Okay, so 3 seconds to estimate. It's a bit trickier now. I don't know, maybe. What do you think?
16?
16. Daisy says 16. All right, let's see, Daisy, how close she is. Oh, 4 times 4. That looks good. 4 groups of 4. 1, 10, and 6 more. I think 16. Hey. So that was a very good estimate. And so we can move on, and then we can look at how they reported their thinking. So this is a 4x4 array, of course. But we could have done a 2x8. 4 groups of 4. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. So you can see different representations or different representations of the same mathematical structure, and then one row of 10 and 6 more. So this is maybe something you might want to play with. It's useful for you, particularly if you're in a primary school teacher. And you can just get there by going to, just putting goat maths into Google, it'll come up. So I just thought I might show that one. And the last thing I'm going to show you, just because I said before that the King's Tax could become an investigation. And what do I mean by how teachers might transform a game into an investigation? We played the King's Tax before. These are the sorts of, you often in a game, you can take a scenario, like a snapshot of a game scenario, and use that to turn it into an investigation. So here's an example. Andrea entered her round on $50. The following cards have been played: 3, Queen, 7, 10, 5, and Joker. Now, even though Joker was $100 in our game, Joker can be anything. Okay, you decide at the start of the game what the Joker's going to be, but it can take on any value. So sometimes it's triple, sometimes it's $100, sometimes it can be 0, sometimes it could be a negative number. It could be lots of different things. So the question is, what order might the cards have been played in if she ended on $50, and what are some different possibilities for the value of the Joker? So that's how it becomes an investigation. So I'll just show you a couple of solutions just to show you. So if the cards were played in that order, 3, Queen, 7, 10, 5, and Joker, the Joker had to be worth $22 to make it into 50. But if the cards had been played in a different order, 7 plus 3 plus 10 plus 5, which equals 25, the Queen doubles the score, that would be 50, then the Joker must be worth $0. So this is one way of transforming the game we played into an investigation. But anyway, I will stop sharing now.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Okay. So I do apologize. I didn't realize that in the previous time my audio was mute. So for now, I also will invite one of my students. Actually, I want to invite all of the group, but we have no time. So let me show again the design that have already been developed by the teachers in my class here. About the numbers, about the shape, about the unitizing, about the snake and ladders, about labubu, langkah batok untuk berhitung. It is also, I think, this is the new idea developed by the teachers. And this is Adat, yeah, the traditional house from Indonesia. About literasi numerasi, about Dampu Bulan game, permainan Dampu Bulan. It's quite familiar and famous in Indonesia. And kembang goyang here related to the circle. Thank you Bapak Ibu, ini yang sudah menginspirasi ya terciptanya webinar ini, karena ini Bapak dan Ibu guru di kelas desain pembelajaran matematika ini punya beberapa inspirasi yang sangat menarik, dan ini salah satunya dari kelompok Bu Ika ya, Bu Ika tentang labubu. It has been already implemented in the class with the children. Maybe Bu Ika can share your experience about how labubu be implemented in your class. Labubu, langkah batok berhitung ya. You can also share in bahasa. Bu Ika?
Okay, thank you for Puri and Mr. James. Sorry, can I use bahasa?
Ya. Okay.
Oke, baik. Terima kasih Bu Puri dan Mr. James. Izin teman-teman semuanya, saya Bu Ika, perwakilan dari kelompok 3. Di sini kami mengambil tema labubu. Seperti yang kita tahu bahwa sekarang itu sedang hits ya, labubu itu sebagai permainan boneka ya. Tapi di sini kita kemas menjadi permainan tradisional yang mungkin anak-anak masih belum tahu. Nah, labubu itu kepanjangan dari langkah batok untuk berhitung. Nah, medianya adalah dengan egrang batok kelapa. Nah, egrang batok kelapa merupakan permainan tradisional yang banyak dimainkan di berbagai daerah di Indonesia khususnya. Nah, ini kita kemas sebagai sebuah permainan yang di dalamnya kita sisipkan materi perkalian. Nah, perkalian ini sebagai penjumlahan berulang. Nah, kita tahu bahwa anak ini banyak yang miskonsepsi terkait dengan penjumlahan berulang, perkalian. Misal, contohnya 3 dikali 4, kemarin saya kebetulan sudah menerapkan di kelas juga. mereka sebelumnya sudah mendapatkan materi perkalian di kelas 2. Di kelas 3 kami melakukan pengulangan, tetapi banyak yang belum paham, banyak yang miskonsepsi terkait dengan penjumlahan berulang ini. Kemarin saya tanya 3 kali 4, ternyata banyak yang menjawab itu adalah 3-nya ada 4 kali Bu gitu. Nyatanya konsepnya adalah 4-nya yang ada 3 kali, yaitu 4 ditambah 4 ditambah 4 ditambah 4. Nah, dari hal ini kita kemas menjadi sebuah games yang di kelas nanti kita sudah berikan pemahaman dulu terkait konsepnya. Nah, games ini adalah penguatan dari konsep yang sudah didapatkan di kelas, kita pindahkan dengan games, dan games ini kita lakukan di outdoor. Nah, kebetulan egrang batok kelapa ini juga permainan tradisional yang dapat melatih motorik kasar anak-anak ya. Ternyata kemarin pas saya coba itu banyak yang keseimbangannya masih belum terlatih juga, sehingga kemarin aku banyak yang excited sekali dengan permainan egrang batok kelapa ini. Bu Vina boleh di share screen. Kebetulan kami sudah ada videonya.
Maybe because we run out of time, Bu, I think it is not. Yeah, if you want to share the video, maybe just a little brief ya. Because mungkin sedikit saja mungkin ya Bu ya, karena kita masih punya satu partisipan ini yang akan sharing.
Miss Vina.
I think that's enough. Maybe if you are interested, you can also share the link of the video, then James also can watch it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Terima kasih Bu Ika atas sharing sessionnya. Ini sebelum ke question and answer, ini ada satu partisipan lagi yang menyatakan bersedia. Ini kalau Bu Ika dari Jakarta, ini perwakilan dari wilayah tengah. Tadi Bu Kristi dari Maluku, perwakilan wilayah timur, dan perwakilan wilayah barat tadi Pak Indra sudah ada dari Palembang. Pak Indra, are you with me? Halo Pak Indra dari Palembang. Okay, while waiting for Pak Indra, I will check several questions raised in chat room, maybe ya. Sambil menunggu Pak Indra, mungkin saya izin langsung bacakan saja mungkin ya di sini nih pertanyaan dari. Oh, oke, Pak Indra. Oke, I have around 2 minutes ya to share about your experience.
Can I share my screen, please?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity, and bear with me for turning off my video because it's I have some connection. I have been having some connection issue because it's the weather is not that supporting here.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, I would like to tell you guys about a good practice that I have implemented in my classroom practice. Unfortunately, I can't share the video, but I think my explanation is enough to explain how this game works. When it comes to game implementation, I mean non-digital game implementation in a classroom, I used to invite my students to play Monopoly International. I think since my students are considered as Alpha generation, they no longer relate to this game, but this game was quite famous among the millennials and the Z generation in Indonesia. I've been trying to share it. Still I have a connection issue, so please kindly bear with me. And how this game work? This game is I use this game to help them understand better about multiple and also how to I mean the operation of numbers in like 5 or 6 digits. I mean number that has thousands and others, and this monopoly has dollar as its currency. So if I could not share
Maybe you can also send the file to chat room. Is that alright, Pak Indra?
Okay.
Therefore, maybe other participants can see your ID. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Pak
I will-
Indra, for the wonderful idea about monopoly also. But I think it is also will be interesting if it is applied in the classroom. So because we run out of time, let me just quick read the question in the chat room for Jim. From Bubuli, playing and learning mathematics is really fun for students. It can increase learning motivation and student learning outcomes. But in reality, many teachers are reluctant to make games in learning because they only apply to one material and take time to make them. Besides that, a lot of administration tasks really limit teacher creativity. What is the solution to this problem, James? Maybe you can
I think I will say, correct me if I'm wrong, Puri, but you were saying that there's a push in Indonesia to change the curriculum. Is this right?
Yeah, yeah.
And to make it, to put at the center of it, making mathematics joyful, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is a really important shift because if people in power who are designing policies and curriculum are sending a signal to teachers that we value student engagement and we value student enjoyment. These are and students being joyful about mathematics and positive about mathematics, then that gives teachers permission to prioritize that rather than trying to prioritize something else. And I think that that's a really important shift that could trickle down and start to change practice at that level. So I think it's very exciting that is happening. And I would encourage teachers to start off with games that they are familiar with, that they are comfortable with, and then ask the question, how could they adapt that game so it fits the mathematical learning objective that they want to focus on? I think that's probably the easiest place to begin. So there's no easy way to address your question. It's an excellent question, but it's a complex question. But I think the two things, what is happening at a policy level is positive with the curriculum, and also encouraging teachers to start with games that they are familiar with and try to adapt those games so they fit the mathematical learning focus. That's a good beginning point because it's more manageable. Probably the two things that come to mind.
Okay, thank you. And there is another question from Rahmita. Should mathematics learning be enjoyable and relate to everyday life stories like that videos? I don't know which one videos, maybe the videos that we present.
Yeah, so maybe your videos as well?
Yeah,
In particular? Yeah. So I think it should, I personally think it should be. I think mathematics should be connected to the world around us, both because it makes mathematics more engaging, but also because most of us at the end of school, what do we want to use mathematics for? We want to be able to apply our learning to the real world, to make decisions, to navigate, shopping, or to decide which car loan to take on, or whatever it might be. There's lots of decision making that's constantly linked to the real world. So I think not only is it engaging to present mathematical tasks in real world contexts, it actually connects more to how we want students to use mathematics as well. So I think it is really a really important thing to emphasize.
Okay, thank you, Jim. We will stop at 12:13 our time, yeah, because I know this is weekend, yeah. Sorry, James, but we are happy to have you. Is there any question that I skip, Bu Sally?
I think that's all, Bu Puri.
Oh, that's all, yeah. Okay. I think this is a great opportunity for us to share with all of you, Bapak dan Ibu. Thank you for sharing about your experience related to mathematical games and also about mathematics learning in your classroom and also in the future. Yeah, James and I and Penelope and Desi will very happy if you are with us can have a more engaging discussion either via email or maybe direct discussion, yeah, if we meet directly in Indonesia. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Then I can give the floor to Miss Sally again. And James, you want to say something as a closing statement?
I just thank you for your time this morning. I hope you got something out of it. And as Puri said, feel free to reach out and contact me and contact Puri by email and share what is happening in your classroom. Share your perspectives, because I think this is the beginning for me of an exciting collaboration with what is happening in Indonesia. So thank you for having me this morning.
Thank you. Yeah, Miss Sally.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Puri and James. Thank you so much for your insightful presentation. And Bapak Ibu, we hope you found the information and insights shared by our expert keynote speaker to be valuable. To quickly recap some of the main points that we discussed this Saturday morning. Well, this is literally early morning, actually, yeah. We're talking about math. And if I might highlight our discussion this morning, we have to change our mindset about math itself. Math, it must be fun, math is good, must be simple. And if we as a teacher already change our mind, then we can deliver it easily to our students. Okay, especially in this digital area. How to learn math, it must be relevant to our life, because yes, it is. Math is in our life. We can learn math through games, songs, daily activities, and many. The key is to make it simple. Well, if people do not believe that math is simple, it is only because they do not realize how complicated life is, right? So, once again, James, thank you so much for the insightful discussion. On behalf of UMK and as an honor, I would like to give virtual certificate to you as our keynote speaker for this morning. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have another plaque that will give it by Bu Puri.
Can you stand up?
Yes.
Maybe you can adjust also to the camera.
Yes, good.
Okay. Maybe you can stop share, Mas Hilal. So,
You can see.
okay. Oh my God. Before the program, we have kind of this. This is the kind of typical stuff from Indonesia.
Nice, thank you.
And this is from our campus on behalf of our campus.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, let's take a picture first.
Thank you.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Thanks so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well,
Appreciate
actually,
it.
there is one question before James, if you don't mind to answer it. How much is your height?
Sorry, what was it?
There is a question before. Yeah, in the previous.
How's my hair?
Yes.
Yeah.
My hat's all, okay.
There is a question about
188 centimeters.
Wow, 188 centimeters. You must be a good basketball player, right? Okay, once again, thank you to James Russo as our keynote speaker. Hope we can meet live one day, maybe, so you
That
can
would be
visiting
lovely.
us in Indonesia, or maybe we can visiting you in Australia and talking
I
about
would
math
love to.
more. Okay, enjoy your time with your family, James.
Thank you.
And
Thank
to
you.
Bu Puri, thank you so much for making this webinar happen. We really hope you get success into your learning journey there in Australia. And once you back to Indonesia, we can make directly. And send our regards to Nara Cantik. You okay? A little bit forgot what is the acronym of Nara Cantik, but it's put on my about Nara Cantik.
noticing ability and
Okay.
reflective ability. Okay, cantik and realistic. Nara, cantik,
okay,
cantik
yeah.
is beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Like her mama.
Nice. Very good, Mark.
Okay, let's continue, and then we hope this webinar has provided you with useful information, and you can implement this in your own work. And if you have any additional question, all the participants, or want to learn more about the topic we discussed today, please feel free to reach out to our team. All right, to make it this more fun, is it possible if we have a quizzes for today about math? Well, no worries, the question is gonna be easy. And if you don't mind, I will share the quizzes link. The question, it will be in Bahasa Indonesia. Wait a moment, ya. Okay, Bapak Ibu, I would like to share the quizzes link through our chat room. This is just for fun, and maybe this is to realize it. How can we make it make it fun and easy for us, for our students? All right. Okay, we have 5, 6. Whoa, getting more. I will wait for another 1 minute. All right, 7 participants. All right, this is only 1 minute. There is still more. Yeah, for the attendance list, we will share it later in the end of our webinar. Could you please be patient? All right, let's start it.
Recording in progress.
Okay, we already got our winner for Pak Saiku Rohman, Ibu Nikmah Rohmani, and NN. Maybe later you can contact us to get more certificate about that one. Okay, Masya Allah, Alhamdulillah. Ya, Bunda, setelah ini, let me switch my tongue into bahasa Indonesia to make it clear if it's fine for you. Okay. Now, before we say goodbye, we would like to take a moment for UHAMKA who helped make this webinar possible. Itu Ibu Reni, the time is yours. Silakan Ibu Reni.
Terima kasih Bu Sally. Suara saya sudah terdengar Bapak Ibu?
Terdengar Bu Reni.
Sudah, baik. Izin share screen ya Bapak Ibu. Ya, baik Bapak Ibu, mohon izin. Selamat pagi semuanya. Selamat pagi. Gimana Bapak Ibu untuk acara seminar tadi pagi? Sungguh menarik ya, ternyata matematika bisa kita buat menjadi semenarik mungkin sehingga siswa bisa lebih tertarik lagi untuk pelajaran matematik. Setuju nggak Bapak Ibu? Baik, mohon izin perkenalkan saya Reni dari Sekolah Pasca Sarjana UHAMKA. Izinkan saya meminta waktu Ibu Bapak mungkin sekitar 10 menit untuk sedikit menginformasikan atau mengenalkan UHAMKA. Oke. Ya, Bapak Ibu ada yang tahu UHAMKA? Atau sebagian besar di sini mahasiswa dari UHAMKA S2?
Ya, mahasiswa S2, Bu.
Ya, baik. Ya, jadi memang kami ini di sini mempunyai 3 program. Yang pertama ada S1, ada S2, dan ada S3. Secara universitas kami sudah terakreditasi unggul. UHAMKA masuk ke 32 perguruan tinggi yang masuk dari 2.896 perguruan tinggi di Indonesia. Tepuk tangan dong Bapak Ibu. Ya, selain itu berdasarkan Unirank pada tahun 2023 kami juga merupakan universitas Islam terbaik se-Indonesia, kemudian nomor 1 untuk perguruan tinggi Muhammadiyah dan Aisyah terbaik se-Indonesia, nomor 1 untuk perguruan tinggi Islam terbaik se-DKI Jakarta, nomor 2 perguruan tinggi terbaik se-DKI Jakarta, nomor 22 terbaik se-Indonesia, dan juga nomor 9 terbaik nomor Islam di Indonesia sedunia, mohon maaf. Tepuk tangannya sekali lagi Bapak Ibu. Ya, baik. UHAMKA mempunyai 2 program doktor dan juga 10 program magister. Seperti yang tertera di layar, untuk program doktor kami ada program pendidikan bahasa Indonesia dan juga program pendidikan. Untuk magister, bagi Bapak Ibu yang ingin melanjutkan program magister, kami mempunyai 10 program studi, di antaranya ada penelitian dan evaluasi pendidikan, kemudian ada manajemen, lalu ada administrasi pendidikan, ada ilmu kesehatan masyarakat, pendidikan bahasa Indonesia, pendidikan bahasa Inggris, pendidikan IPS, pendidikan dasar, dan yang sedang kita bahas hari ini, pendidikan matematika dan juga ilmu farmasi. Bagi yang belum tahu lokasinya, lokasi kami sangat strategis sekali, ada di Jalan Warung Buncit Raya Kalibata, Pancoran, Jakarta Selatan. Ada yang tahu Bapak Ibu? Di sini kalau tidak salah seluruh Indonesia ya Bu Seli ya? Ya, jadi di sini sangat strategis sekali. Bagi yang ada di luar Jakarta ataupun ada di pulau-pulau lain di Indonesia, ini tidak perlu khawatir. Kenapa? Karena pembelajaran kami ini adalah blended learning. Jadi kalau yang di luar dari Pulau Jawa ini bisa dilakukan secara online seperti itu. Jadi kami memberikan kemudahan. Bagi yang di Jakarta tidak perlu khawatir, transportasinya mudah. Terus juga ada di dekat pusat perkantoran, kafe, mall, terus juga wisata, kuliner. Jadi bagi Bapak Ibu yang ingin selepas kerja ke kampus tidak perlu khawatir. Ini fasilitas yang ada di kami, bisa dilihat ada juga ruang layanan mahasiswa, terus juga ada smart classroom, perpus digital, ada ruang kerja mahasiswa. Jadi bagi Bapak Ibu nanti yang ada tugas, ini bisa nih langsung masuk ke ruang kerja mahasiswa. Dan siapa aja yang bisa daftar di S2 ataupun S3 UHAMKA ini bisa siapa aja. Jadi memang kalau dari nama kami adalah Universitas Muhammadiyah Profesor Dr. Hamka, tapi bagi Bapak Ibu yang non-Muslim, baik dari Hindu, Buddha, Kristen ataupun yang lainnya ini bisa masuk karena kami bisa menerima dari berbagai jenis gender dan juga bisa semua bisa kuliah di UHAMKA. Nah, kebijakan untuk semester ini, saat ini kami sedang membuka untuk semester genap, Bapak Ibu. Kebijakan di semester genap, apabila Bapak Ibu mendaftar, ini akan mendapatkan potongan 30% dari biaya kuliah. Seperti itu. Dan kebijakan ini berlaku hanya untuk semester ini aja. Dan untuk S3, ini akan mendapatkan potongan sebesar 15%. Untuk biayanya nggak perlu khawatir Bapak Ibu, di sini kami skemakan untuk pencicilan, jadi sangat fleksibel sekali, hanya dengan biaya berkisar dimulai dari 2 jutaan, Bapak Ibu bisa mendaftar untuk gelar S2 ataupun S3. Biayanya sudah termasuk tertera ya Bapak Ibu di layarnya, biaya ini bisa diangsur, terus juga sudah termasuk jas almet, KTM, SKS, UTS, UAS, proposal, tesis, jadi sudah beres semuanya Bapak Ibu. Jadi Bapak Ibu tidak perlu khawatir lagi untuk biaya-biaya lainnya. Tata cara pendaftarannya gimana? Ini sangat mudah sekali, apalagi yang ada di luar daerah, ini mudah banget karena kami mempunyai 2 metode pendaftaran. Yang pertama ada online melalui website kami di pmb.uhamka.ac.id ataupun di offline ini bisa langsung datang ke kampus kami yang ada di Warung Buncit Raya. Ini alurnya Bapak Ibu, jadi kalau misalkan Bapak Ibu mendaftar, ini pertama Bapak Ibu akan melakukan pendaftaran dengan mengisi formulir pendaftaran, ini bisa di-upload melalui format yang tadi saya sudah informasikan linknya, kemudian Bapak Ibu akan melakukan tes, setelah dinyatakan lulus Bapak Ibu bisa melakukan daftar ulang, lalu sudah diterima dan menjadi mahasiswa aktif UHAMKA tentunya. Ya, Bapak Ibu, kami mohon izin di sini berkenan untuk follow IG kami. Bisa ya, mohon izin untuk follow IG kami di SPS UHAMKA, dan bagi yang ingin informasi selanjutnya dari SPS UHAMKA bisa menghubungi call center kami di 087854465007. Ya, demikian informasi yang dapat kami sampaikan. Apabila Bapak Ibu ada pertanyaan, nanti mungkin bisa langsung chat admin kami atau masih ada waktu Bu Seli untuk bagi yang mau bertanya.
Silakan Bu Reni.
Iya, bagi
mungkin
Bapak Ibu
dua pertanyaan.
Iya, bagi Bapak Ibu yang ingin bertanya, kami sediakan waktu dan kesempatannya. Bagi nanti 1 atau 2 penanya akan kami berikan formulir gratis bagi yang ingin mendaftar di S2 UHAMKA. Silakan,
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Saya Ibu Wardani dari SMP 252. Alhamdulillah saya sudah menyelesaikan program S2 saya di Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris UHAMKA. Dan kebetulan ya Pak Muti itu sebagai dosen saya pernah mengajar menteri yang sekarang ini. Nah, yang saya tanyakan, jika saya ingin melanjutkan program doktor, adakah potongan atau berapa persentase yang saya dapatkan dan berapa biayanya, mohon kirim ke email saya jika ada, atau bagaimana saya mendapat info. Dan untuk formulir boleh juga kalau saya mau dikasih. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Maaf, izin dengan Ibu siapa, maaf Bu?
Ibu Wardani.
Ibu Wardani, oh ya baik.
Ya.
Ibu Wardani, terima kasih atas pertanyaannya. Berarti Ibu sebelumnya sudah lulus dari S2 UHAMKA ya?
Alhamdulillah, iya sudah.
Alhamdulillah. Jadi Ibu memang tadi seperti yang saya sudah jelaskan di slide, apabila Ibu mendaftar di S3 UHAMKA, Ibu akan dapat potongan 15% Bu.
Oh gitu ya, walaupun dari alumni, biasanya alumni bisa tambah lagi tuh, nggak ada ya?
Jadi itu berdasarkan kebijakan Bapak Ibu. Jadi kebijakan untuk yang semester genap ini, untuk pendaftar akan mendapatkan potongan sebesar 15% dari biaya perkuliahan. Nah, kalau untuk biayanya seperti apa, Ibu bisa nanti chat ke room chat ya Bu ya, nomor Ibu, nanti akan kita follow up kembali dan langsung akan di follow up oleh admin kami Bu.
Baik, terima kasih.
Terima kasih Bu Wardani. Ada lagi yang ingin bertanya, satu kesempatan lagi ya Bu Seli?
Boleh, silakan.
Ya, ada lagi yang mau bertanya? Atau sudah cukup? Sepertinya sudah cukup ya Bu Seli ya. Baik, terima kasih atas kesempatannya. Mudah-mudahan hari ini bisa joyful seperti tadi seminar kita matematik ini, dan mudah-mudahan hari Sabtu ini adalah hari yang ceria buat kita semua. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke, baik. Terima kasih Ibu Reni. Baik, Bapak dan Ibu, izinkan saya untuk menginformasikan hal berikutnya, yaitu seperti yang sudah kami sampaikan, ini kami akan memberikan sedikit semacam penghargaan kepada Bapak dan Ibu. Semua Bapak Ibu adalah peserta terbaik karena sudah menyempatkan waktunya bersama kami ya, membahas tentang matematika di Sabtu pagi yang cerah ini. Nah, izinkan kami untuk menginformasikan 5 peserta terbaik kami, yaitu yang pertama adalah Ibu Erni Kurniasi, kemudian Ibu Wuli Oktiningrum, Ibu Kristi Matia Putih, Bapak Indra Gunawan, dan Ibu Ika Hartini. Kami akan memberikan sertifikat secara virtual terlebih dahulu kepada para 5 peserta terbaik kami. Mungkin boleh di-share untuk sertifikatnya? Oke, baik, mungkin nanti nama-nama yang tadi sudah disebutkan bisa menghubungi pihak panitia untuk lebih. Oke, baik. Ini atas James, atas nama Ibu Erni Kurniasi. Apakah bisa? Yes. Baik, saya lanjutkan. Kemudian tadi kita sudah mengikuti permainan kuis ya. Semoga pertanyaannya tidak terlalu sulit ya, harapan saya. Nah, pemenang kuis yang tadi tampak di layar Bapak Ibu itu ada 3 orang dan di data saya ada 5 orang. Izinkan saya untuk menyebutkan namanya. Yang pertama adalah Bapak Rohman atau Pak Saiku Rohman, kemudian Ibu Nikmah Rahmani, kemudian NN, no name ya mungkin artinya. Lalu yang keempat adalah Ibu Rosa Anissa dan Ibu Lilis. Nah, dengan jika berkenan untuk 3 nama pemenang kuis ini akan mendapatkan sama sertifikat terbaik juga. Lalu untuk Ibu Erni Kurniasi dan Ibu Wuli Oktiningrum serta Bapak Syaiful Rohman, izinkan kami untuk memberikan sekedar penghargaan yaitu pulsa sebesar Rp100.000. Nanti mohon untuk menghubungi pihak panitia. Sekali lagi, terima kasih atas partisipasinya di Sabtu yang cerah ini. Kami sangat menghargai waktu Bapak dan Ibu. Semoga apa yang kita berikan, yang kita share pada hari ini membawa dampak yang positif baik untuk Bapak Ibu hebat, kemudian juga untuk anak didik kita. Sampai ketemu di lain waktu. Saya dengan Sally Anastasia, mohon maaf jika ada kata-kata yang kurang berkenan. Kita tutup webinar kita dengan bacaan hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Dan wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Izin. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih semuanya.
Terima kasih.
Waalaikumsalam.
Terima kasih.